Witness one here. Check that out. See that? I ran my car backwards, pulling up this road off the edge there. See that? I had to walk 4 miles. I think he'd try to get some help down these roads back here. And check this story out. And so I walked the 4 miles, nobody. I finally get to the main road down there 4 miles from here, 3 or 4 miles, 3.5 miles. And there's a bunch of people down there huckleberry picking with those big ASVs, you know, the big side-by-sides where 4 people can get in them and everything. And I get down there and I asked, I come walking up and I asked one of the guys for some help. He said, sure. There was 2 big ASVs in a truck. And he's like, let's get the stuff. I got a winch on this thing. And I mean, these ASVs, these are the big, nice ones. I mean, they're big as a car, bigger. The thing was way a lot bigger than my car. Way a lot bigger than my car. And so he's just, he's a real stout, strong guy. And jump in, let's go. And he starts busting up this road, and he's driving like a madman in that ASV, just ripping this shit up, dude. I mean, this thing is like a dune buggy, you know what I'm saying? But for the mountains. And I mean, he can rip this road up, you know. And he's like, he's going up here. He's like, I know where you're at up here. And he's total gangstalker. All of them were. They were just waiting at the end of the road for me, dude. And look at this spin out he did up here. I'll show it to you. And anyways, he come up here and he's all busting and just driving crazy, dude. And I'm like, oh shit, man. I'm like, wow, this thing is badass. Look at that, where he ripped all that whole road up. And he wasn't even barely getting on it. He was just getting out of here. Look at that. That thing was a beast. But anyway, it turns out when he's pulling me out, after he pulls me out of there, yeah, he says, you don't remember me, do you? And I remember I was telling you guys I had an altercation with the guys down in the parking lots and stuff down there. Yeah. He said, I was with the guys that you said ran off the road, that run you off the road. I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, remember we followed you down to the next town and then we had that big altercation. You threatened us and we threatened you. And I was like, yeah. He said, well, that night, he said, we already knew you were up here. That's what he said. I was like, oh, shoot, crap. He said, and I came up this road, this one right here. He said, late at night with an AK. And he said, I was going to shoot your car up. He said. And he said, but I saw that it looked like you were in it. And he said, and I decided I wasn't going to do that. I'm like, oh, crap, you know. But, you know, in the last probably 6 months, I've had these gang stalkers run me off the road, pull guns on me, threaten to kill me all the time. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is you don't know how many times these fools, when you're sleeping in your car, like I was, comes rolling up to kill you and change their mind. And it reminds me of the scriptures. Remember? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they wouldn't bow down to the idol. And Nebuchadnezzar wanted them dead. And so he took them and heated up the furnace 7 more times hotter than it normally is to throw somebody in there, right? And so, he heated it up. He was so mad at Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego that he heated it up 7 times, and the guards that threw them in there, they burn up. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was in there, and there was a 4th man in the fire. You guys know how it goes, right? And right after that, they came out of there, and they weren't burned or scalded or harmed in any way, because Nebuchadnezzar seen the 4th man in the fire, and he knew it was the Son of God, right? And so then he promoted him. There he was 1 second. He was so mad at them, he wanted them dead, and he even heated up the fire 7 times to make sure they were dead. And as soon as they walked out of there, he promoted them, right? So this guy pulls me out of here, and then he says, looked at him and I was like, dang. And then I told his buddy, I said, well, that's why you stay humble. And I pulled my Bible out and I showed him my Bible. And I told him some bad, that I was going through a lot of stuff. And I was just trying to get some alone time. And, I was just giving him the spiel and everything. And I told him about Jesus. And I pulled my Bible out and showed him. And he's like, well, what do you do for work? And I said, well, I'm stuck up here, dude. I mean, look, I ran off that road right there. And you can't, remember I was telling you can't understand the things of God? And he took my number and he says, I'll get you some work. And he went to shake my hand again. I said, can I have a hug? And he hugged me. And I told his buddy and I thanked him. And they got in and left. And that was it. And that's the story. But it just goes to show you, you guys, you don't never know. Even God can use anybody. Even these people that want you dead, like Nebuchadnezzar and all of them. The guy offered me work. He says, I'll get you something. I said, dude, I'll pick up dog poop. I'll mow grass, whatever. Anything to make some money. He says, well, I'm going to work on it. Give me your number. He took my number. And I texted him and thanked him and told him I appreciated him. And I told him, thank you for not shooting me and killing me, dude. He smiles at me. But, always remember, you can sleep with a bed of rattlesnakes, but always remember what you're bedded up with. That's the old saying my uncle used to tell me. And so always remember, always keep it in the back of your mind. You don't never know what can happen. And, here I was this whole time. They were all planning on killing me, but they weren't able to do it up here. And it's, nothing new to me because that kind of stuff happens to me all the time. And then I told him, I said, I wish you would. He said, why? I said, because I need some mercy. Believe me, you'd be doing me a favor. And he just laughed, So you don't ever know. You got to come in humble. Watch your step. Watch your step because they want to kill you already. Everybody knows I'm up here. All them people that were down there berry picking, they were waiting on me because they knew my phone. I was walking down that road. They knew I needed some help, and they were waiting down there to help me. Get what I'm saying, or something. And but he helped me, and then he offered me some work. So we'll see what happens with it. But the fact of the matter is I ain't stuck no more. And I was walking down that road. I was praying to God. I said, God, don't let me run into none of these guys. I've been blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, I ran into that guy I had the altercation with. And he said, well, the other guy that I was with me, he said, we had the falling out, the one that ran you off the road. And he said, I don't know, but with him or about him, he said, but he said, he ain't my buddy as much anymore. That's for dang sure. Because he said they had a falling out. So see what had happened in between. And I might get some work out of it. I might not. I don't know. You don't never know how long you got. And that's the story. And it's a true one. So I love you guys. Always remember, stay humble. Even though you want to act out on these clowns, believe me, they will get their karma by treating you bad and you not doing nothing about it. Get what I'm saying? Don't act on it. Otherwise, you're just going to stir them up. And when you get in a bad way, they might not help you. But see how God had turned all that around for good. And so now they might ease off a little bit and try to set me up on this work thing. But what's going to wind up happening is I'm going to get some work out of the deal and get the hell out of here to move on to the next thing. So that's where it's all at. Love you. Keep your chins up and trust in the Lord. Bye.